It's Wednesday, January 22nd in the year 2025, also known as the smartest year ever. My name's Gordy, and today we are talking about how governments legally authorized pirates to attack their enemies with letters of marque. A little privateering chat, you know. This is what I'm getting at. Why did I think of this? I might be a little late to the party, apparently. Let's just say I got into sea shanties, like old sea shanties, and I've been singing around the house constantly. Pretty much weaponized my ADHD now for anyone that thinks that they will get a moment of silence, because oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. A letter of marque came from the king to the scummiest vessel I'd ever seen. Goddamn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns and shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. Just imagine that all the time. But yeah, so what if I told you that pirates were sometimes perfectly legal? That's right, with a government-issued letter of marque, private citizens could turn their ships into tools of war and plunder, all in the name of patriotism and profit. A letter of marque and reprisal was essentially a government permission slip to attack enemy ships. These documents turned private vessels into privateers, legally authorized to seize cargo, capture ships, and weaken enemies' economies during wartime. So nations like England and France and Spain used privateers extensively from the 16th to 18th centuries, especially when their naval fleets were stretched thin. So here's how it worked. Imagine you're a ship owner during the War of 1812. Hey. The U.S. government gives you a letter of marque allowing you to hunt British merchant ships. You spot one, you capture it and claim its cargo, tea, textiles, and maybe some weapons. And then you sell the goods and you keep a hefty share and hand over part of the profits to the government. For struggling sailors or adventurous entrepreneurs, it was a lucrative gig. Certainly a nice self-employed side hustle. Privateers weren't just random sailors. Many were experienced seafarers with heavily armed ships, making them formidable foes. For example, during the American Revolution, privateers captured thousands of British ships, disrupting trade and forcing Britain to divert resources to protect its merchant fleet. In fact, privateers, not the Continental Navy, were the backbone of America's naval efforts. However, this wasn't without risk. If a privateer was captured, they risked being treated as a pirate, a crime punishable by hanging, unless they could produce this letter of marque. That line between hero and pirate often depended on whose flag you were flying under. One famous privateer was Sir Francis Drake, who operated under a letter of marque from Queen Elizabeth I. While Spain labeled him a pirate, he was a hero in England, bringing back vast treasures and striking devastating blows to Spanish fleets. Privateering officially ended with the Declaration of Paris in 1856, which banned the practice among its signatory nations. However, the U.S. notably didn't sign that treaty, which kept the door open, and I'll get to, because interestingly, the U.S. Constitution explicitly grants Congress the power to issue letters of marque and reprisal, stating, Congress shall have the power to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures of land and water. Pretty simple. And despite this, privateering hasn't been used in modern times. During the War on Terror, there were even discussions about reviving letters of marque to target pirates off the Somali coast, but the idea never really took off. I bet it would take off these days, though, for sure. But so what drove privateering? At its core, it was about money and strategy. Governments got a cheap way to disrupt enemy trade, while privateers enjoyed the spoils of war without needing to join the Navy. For centuries, it was a practical, if maybe controversial, tool of warfare. So yeah, in closing, privateering was kind of where patriotism and plunder sailed hand in hand. And sometimes that line between hero and pirate was just a piece of paper. Check out the sources that I have for this one on my YouTube description. Please follow, rate, like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with everyone. I really appreciate comment. I like comments. At Smartest Year Ever on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts for full episodes. At Smartest Year Ever on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts for those daily clips. In the meantime, stay curious and stay clever on our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalists. I'll see you tomorrow in the Smartest Year Ever.